Welcome, everybody. Very, very welcome to you. Nice to see all of you guys with us here today. For everybody that's new or on for the first time, never been in a webinar with me. I've done a lot of webinars, but there's always some new names and new faces, and I'm very glad to have you guys with us. I'm Jared Johnson. We are going to talk about some pretty darn cool stuff today. I call it the real trading psychology. I've read a lot of books about trading psychology and just psychology in general, and this is the real trading psychology. So we're gonna cover some really cool stuff today, and I'm looking forward to it. So tell me really quick, everybody. We've got lots of people in here and lots of people still getting logged in. I'm getting messages galore. I had to set up my assistant and tell her, make sure to give everyone this link and this password to get in, because it is you know, there's always a chunk that they can't get logged in for some reason. So getting some messages about that, but we'll let everyone get logged in real quick, really super duper quick. Just everybody, you know, this is partially to make sure that you can find out where the chat is, because I want to hear questions. I want to hear comments. We're going to have time at the end of the webinar to do some Q&A and really cover some of this stuff, and it's going to be great. I'm looking forward to it. But also to make sure you can find the chat, and because I'm just generally a curious person, everybody just type in really quick where you're joining us from. We don't need an address or a zip code, but you know, you can do city, state, country, whatever you want. STL, is that St. Louis? John, welcome, welcome. Steve from England. Gary, Arizona. Okay, there we go. Mel from, there we go. San Diego, Norbert. Jorge, oh my gosh, I can't keep up. I can't read that fast. Keep typing them. Keep typing. Let's hear it, guys. So Jorge Herran from Colombia. You're not from Medellin, are you, by any chance? Beautiful place. So nice to see you. Patty from Punta Gorda. Is that, Jorge, maybe you can help me out with that. Does Punta Gorda mean, is that the fat point of Florida? I don't know. My Espanol is a little rough, but Bob, Las Vegas, good to see you. Jose, El Paso, welcome, my friend. And Dorothy from California. Shirley from Dallas. Is this Shirley? Shirley, remind me what your last name is, Shirley. Happy to see you. Welcome, Shirley. Glad to have you with us. We have Michael from South Africa, but writing from and living in Western Ukraine. Okay, okay, that's cool. Excellent. And Jeff, good to see you, Jeff, from Florida. And Jack, Minnesota. Jose, are you really from Medellin? That's great. Who's from Montenegro? That's, is that like the Montenegro, like by Croatia, or is that like a part of California? I don't even know. Hey, Corey from Cedar Rapids. Good to see you, my friend. Usani from Arizona. Great. And Robert from Florida. And the Fat Point. All right. Hey, Manjit. Good to see you, my friend. Good to see you. Oh, Luca. Yeah, by Croatia. Okay. I almost went to Montenegro one time. When I was in Croatia, there was some really cool place I was going to rent a car and drive my family to, and we had to drive through Montenegro, I think, and for some reason we didn't end up doing the trip, but we did go to Croatia. We just didn't make it to Montenegro. Anyway, glad to have you. Glad to have you guys. Welcome, welcome, everybody. Okay, very, very good. While I talk and while I introduce some of this stuff, feel free, guys, to type in, you know, and I won't read it all out loud, but just feel free to type in how long you have been trading, and you know, any of that stuff. Hey, Steve, glad to see you there. How long has everybody been trading Forex? You can, you know, and as we go, you can type in your comments. Have you been having a good experience, a bad experience, a medium experience? You know, just share. Sharing is caring here, folks. So we want to make sure that that we're kind of getting a feel for everything. Patty, you have been trading for about a month. That's right. I was there. I was there helping you take your first step. So glad to have you with us. Mike, hey, there you go. Yeah, I think I introduced you to Forex as well. Cool. That's good. Good. Excellent. It's been a little while, maybe a year or so. Mel, 10 years. Good. Excellent. Norbert, 6 months. Good and bad. All right. All right. Okay, guys. here is some of the stuff we are going to talk about. I see someone's video pop up. I hate to turn it off, but that's all right. We'll be going for it here. Okay, so Bob, 3 months. Yep, good. I was there with you in the beginning as well. Really fun stuff, really good stuff. Okay, guys, we're going to talk about trading psychology today. Good, Michael, 3.5 years. Trading psychology is one of the most important aspects of trading. And, you know, when I wrote this email and invited everybody and I said, hey, guys, we're going to have a webinar about trading psychology. And I thought to myself, and I think I wrote this in the email as well, I thought, oh, this will be great for, you know, people that have traded a little bit or a lot. And then I thought to myself, good grief, this is great for people that haven't even traded once, that have never taken a Forex trade or any other kind of trade. This is must-know stuff that everybody needs to hear, learn, find out about, because what we're going to talk about today in this free webinar is going to save you $1 zillion, and it will probably make you $1 zillion. So this is good stuff, because we oftentimes get so off track mentally when we're trading. And I actually find myself very interested in psychology. I don't know if it was my wife dragging me to couples therapy or if it was just a natural thing from college or whatever it was, but kind of seriously on both of those. But anyway, I find psychology really interesting, and trading psychology, obviously, we're traders here, and I run some trade groups and so on. It's going to be, it's one of the most important aspects of trading. It's just having a good mental game. And so that's the stuff we really want to make sure we have. As I put in the email, this is all about keeping your head right when the market is wrong. And that's kind of funny, right? Because is the market wrong or are we wrong? So we're going to talk all about that. Super important stuff, and I'm really looking forward to discussing it with everybody today. So, Corey, 12 years of trading. Found you and it has turned around. Thanks, Corey, man. That's so nice of you to say. I'm glad you're in there with us. When do you get a check? It's in the mail. It's in the mail, Mel. Mel, it's in the mail. That is right, Mike. The market is, and we adapt. That is correct. That's correct. Okay, Success has been trading for 8 years. Great, excellent. Okay, guys, so what we're going to talk about is the mental game of the market that is sometimes mental itself and just goes nuts on us. So we're going to really, we're going to talk about keeping ourselves on track. We are the problem, unfortunately. The market is not the problem, it's us. And so today we're going to learn about how not to be the problem, right? How to be the solution, how to be a big reason of our own success, right? Because oftentimes many of us start trading and we think, oh, the market's messed up, everything's a mess, and we play the blame game and all this stuff. And unfortunately, and very, very sadly, we are the problem, right? So today we're going to talk about how to get out of our own way and get into a good path of success for this kind of trading. So it's so important. I can't even stress how important this stuff is that we're going to talk about today. Okay, I always show a picture because sometimes people want to know who is the person talking on the other side of the internet or the microphone or whatever. That's me. It's me. I'm this guy right here. Oh, just kidding. Actually, honestly, this is probably the only time these two have hugged in their life. And so the rest of the time it's a boxing match. But they're cute and they're sweet kids. Anyway, here's me and my family. This guy is actually sitting next to me right now. He always hangs out in my office. He's my go-to. But that's my family, and this was taken just a few months ago. So it's pretty recent. We actually do sort of still look like this, although I have a few more gray hairs. But otherwise, this is who I am. This is who we are. This is who you're talking to. So I'm the founder of Day Traders FX. You guys receive these emails. You hear from me. We do webinars. We do all kinds of stuff, and it's fun. It's cool. I've been trading for 15 plus years. I only say 15 plus because I kind of lost count. It's 17, maybe 18 years now, 16 and a half, somewhere right in there, but somewhere between 15 and 20. So I don't think I'll ever say that I've been trading for 20 years, even in 10 years from now? Because that's a sign of really being old, right? If you could say, I started this 20 years ago or 25 years ago, I'm a goner at that point. So it's been a great time, and I'm happy to be doing it, and so I've really loved it. For at least 10 years, I spent the first 5 years, kind of 4 or 5 years, honing my skills of trading and just trying to figure my own situation out. It took me some time. There wasn't very many good trade groups out there, not a lot of help. But I had some great successes. I had some great learning experiences. I had a lot of great stuff in those first 5 years or so of trading. And then I started kind of doing some consulting and doing some trading and doing some of trading groups and some of that. And that really, honestly, helped me become the trader that I am today, which hopefully is a good one. But teaching people has been such a beneficial part in my own development as a trader. And I actually am very, very grateful that I've had that opportunity, and that I've worked with many of you guys in one-on-one sessions and in group sessions, and it's been awesome. So really love it. Norbert, that's true. Dogs probably are good traders because they don't have memories. We'd probably be better if we didn't have memories. Hi, Joe. Glad you made it in with us. Good to see you. So that's a little bit about me, a little bit about us, a little bit about everything. I am curious. I actually sent out an email to a couple of select people a while ago, and I said, what was your goal when you started trading? And, this is why I kind of joke about this, right? We're here to get rich or something like that, right? I actually don't think as many people, at least the people that I work with, and I talk with a lot of traders, maybe hundreds and hundreds on a weekly basis. I don't think that everybody, or that as many people as it would seem, got into this business to just get rich. But we do all want to make money, right? But I think there's a lot of different mentalities in trading, and this is any kind of trading, right? But we're talking Forex specifically today. I trade stocks and cryptocurrencies, although I missed the big run up on Bitcoin the last couple of days. I trade it all, and I have worked with probably more traders than anybody I know, and I see everything that everybody is doing, and it's very interesting for me just from a pure learning point of view. But it's very, very interesting to kind of see that develop and see what traders are really doing. And it's always interesting to hear back. I got hundreds of replies from this email that I sent out not too long ago. What was everyone's goal? And a lot of people had a goal of, try to beat the market, supplement my income. Work is up and down. I want to have something that I can, depend on. And it was kind of interesting to hear a lot of stuff. It wasn't a lot of greedy, let's get rich, let's go crazy kind of people. It was people that I want to give this market a shot. I want to do this kind of stuff and hopefully be somewhat successful at it. So that was interesting to hear. Now, as we get past the idealistic description, I guess, of what we are trying to do as traders, we get down to a couple of mentalities. And this is actually what I see. And I've worked with thousands and thousands of traders in one-on-one settings, in group settings, in massive group settings, all kinds of different ways. And this is kind of where I see things typically go. There's three types of traders, right? There's the experimenter, there's the gambler, and the full-time candidate, right? So everybody tends to fall into one of these categories, and it's kind of interesting. I mean, everybody take maybe 1 or 2 seconds. Where do you fall into? Do you feel like you're an experimenter? Are you trying a lot of things? Are you a gambler? Are you a full-time candidate? Let's dig a little deeper, and just kind of think about where you are on that course of your trading career, whether it's 1 month or 10 years long. Where do you fit in? Experimenter, gambler, full-time candidate? Let's talk more about it. I find that the experimenters are the ones that they try everything, kind of stick to nothing, enjoy the process, and never really make any money. So that is kind of where that's where the experimenter finds himself or herself on a pretty regular basis. I find that, I don't know, sometimes it's profession based. Sometimes the computer programmers or the engineers are the ones that want to experiment because they're used to kind of the processes, right? There is there's all these different kinds of mentalities that will do things differently, right? But I feel like the experimenters are the ones that just do everything. And I have seen so many of these people. And it's kind of interesting to talk to them, right? It's interesting to find out about these different kinds of strategies that they're trying. I'm going all automated. I'm going no automated. I'm going partially automated. There's just a whole bunch of different ways they're trying to skin the cat. The problem with, and I went through the experimenter stage as well, and the problem I found is that there are nearly endless possibilities of things you can do in trading Forex. They're nearly endless. And so if you're the experimenter, you better have a lot of resources, and you better have a lot of time, and you better have a lot of patience and a lot of determination. This is a tough place to be. I find that oftentimes the experimenters are the people that maybe aren't super, they're not planning on being very dependent on trading, right? Maybe you've got a good job that you like. Maybe you're retired and you have a good retirement, so you're not worried about it. Maybe a whole bunch of things, right? So the experimenters, they kind of just give it all a shot. Some of it works, some of it doesn't. Everybody comes out break even, right? In this kind of category, as far as I've seen, break even, sometimes a little ahead. There's never anything significant that happens here. There is. 1 in 1,000 will find a holy grail of trading and just kill it, and the other 999 have some sort of struggle. So that's kind of how it tends to turn out. Yeah, there you go, Mel. That's right. Corey used to be long-term swing scalper. I got you. Good. Yeah. So the experimenter, there's so many things to do. There's so many indicators. There's so many things that you can try, and it's tricky. It's tricky. So, do you fit in this category? These are some of my favorites. I've worked with these men and women a lot. And interestingly, for some reason, and this is probably a horrible comment to make. It's not horrible, but it's probably old-fashioned and I don't know. But I think at the beginning I thought the men will be kind of the reckless gamblers, and the women will probably be a little bit more thoughtful about the trading process. And that was partially true. I didn't just think of that. That's kind of what I saw. I didn't see women being so aggressive as men were in trading. That has changed in a major way. I have a lot of women in the group and women that I've worked with in trading that just go big or go home. And so this can be anybody from any background, any type of anything. This can be anybody right here. The gambler, go big or go home. It's my money, and I can make it back. Try anything, always in too many trades, and I probably should have put this here, always in too heavy, too large of a trade size, right? That's the gambler. I find that the gamblers are the ones that, and it's not bad to be a gambler, right? You can refine these elements here, and you can start to find certain things in there that might work better for you, that maybe you can pull some consistency out of. So it's not bad to be a gambler. It's just, here are the typical characteristics that I have seen of the gamblers. It is the people saying, I think we need to trade more, right? People in my trade group have told me that. People that I've worked with in the past have said, I just want to trade more. I want more action, right? Those are the gamblers. Those are the ones saying, let's see if we can put it all on red, all on black, all on, 13, whatever it is, and just hit the lottery, right? Hit the jackpot. That's what we're going for. We're just going for the jackpot. I don't find that these gamblers in the end ever come out super duper ahead, right? Most of the time, I I'll try to change the circumstances in case this person is in here with us, but I don't think this person is this man or woman from planet Earth. Um, I've had many interesting and crazy and wild stories in the past. One of them was I had this person that was in the group for a long time. This was a few years ago, and we worked, and I did some one-on-one sessions trying to, help hone the skills and so on. This person was a gambler through and through. Um, at one point, he took a trading account from $1,000 to $25,000 in like 6 weeks, right? That's the essence of the gambler. Huge rises and huge falls, right? $1,000 to $25,000 in a month and a half. It was pretty amazing. I watched it and I thought, oh man, this is going to be a painful one. and of course, lost most of it, but then made it back and made more back. And I saw him build his trading account up to about $125,000, which was amazing, right? And that all came from just a few $1,000s of actual deposits. Build it up to $125,000, lost all $125,000 on a single trade. On a single trade. That is the gambler. That is the gambler. Never take your profits. Keep doubling up, doubling down. Keep doing all this stuff. I remember this person called me. They lived outside of the United States, and I got this call from this phone number. And I thought, oh, it's about 10 o'clock at night for this person. And he was pretty distraught, and he said, I just lost $125,000 on this trade. And I saw the movement he was talking about. I was looking at my chart too. And it was pretty painful, and it was a little bit, honestly, it was a little bit frustrating as well, because we had put so much time and so much work into, helping his strategy and so on. And he was just a gambler. He couldn't help it. He wanted action. He wanted adrenaline and, and the hopes of big profits. So gambling in the market can be good if there is some control, but I find these characteristics are difficult, and they don't usually produce steady, consistent profits. Then there is the good old full-time candidate. Let me see. Hold on. We got some comments here. Experimenter, looking to focus, make more money. Less action, more accuracy. I like that, Mel. Yes. Knowledge and not gambling, Patty. Absolutely. Yeah, it can be pretty stressful and pretty painful when you take the gambling route, for sure. So we definitely don't want to go. We don't want to take that path too terribly much. That's not really the goal. Not really at all, in fact. Hey, Steve Cooper. Good to see you, my friend. We got a couple of Steves in here. Nice to see you, Jim. All right. Yes, Joe. I'll actually send out a PDF. Everyone can download this and kind of read through this, and I think it'll be good to kind of just have some review. Yes, exactly, Bob. Move to Vegas if you want to do some gambling. Absolutely. The full-time candidate trader is typically more logical about their approach to trading, doesn't have as much fun trading, has a knack for making money, right? Is just able to produce, whatever they do, they're kind of making money at it. Now, keep in mind, with these three characteristics, it doesn't mean that if you are one of these, you're screwed. It doesn't mean that. It doesn't mean you're stuck in whatever one that you think you might fit into, whether you feel like you're a gambler or you're an experimenter or you're the full-time candidate. You can always work through and hone your skill and be successful at trading. The least likely of candidates, people that I thought had, honestly, and I hate to even say this, but people that I thought had no chance of being successful at trading, like zero chance, have been huge successes. And I've seen it. I've worked with so many people for so many years, and I've thought, I don't know why this person's wasting their money paying for sessions with me and paying to be part of this group. They're just never going to get it. And they have become some of the best traders that I've seen. So, I sense, many years ago, I stopped thinking that because as I started seeing so many success stories coming out of it, I thought, oh, okay, so some people it just takes time. And then I find out, guess what? For everybody, it just takes time. For everybody, it takes time. That's it. It's just some people take less time at honing the skill than others. Some can do it more quickly, some do it more slowly. But I find that it's not more slowly or more quickly. Like some people it'll take 5 years and some people it'll take 3 months. It'll take everybody a couple of years to really get a good solid feel for their technique, their skill in trading. Keep in mind that the highest paid people on the planet are traders. So this isn't something that we get in a couple of weeks or a couple of months. Ray Dalio of Bridgewater, everyone probably knows who he is, big hedge fund manager, and kind of a crazy guy. I've read some of his books. They're pretty interesting. The guy made himself, his paycheck, his salary last year was $2 billion, right? $2 billion. There's not a lot of people, besides a very small handful of the top richest people in the world that are making $2 billion a year. And of those richest people, a huge chunk of them are traders. So this is it's one of the most profitable things we can do, but it takes time and it takes effort and it takes energy. So everybody will take some time. If you find, and there might, and maybe not, but if you find that you are 10 years into trading and you've never really made any money, there's a place for you as well. And it's not a bad thing. It doesn't mean that you're a bad learner. It doesn't mean that you're doing everything wrong. It doesn't mean any of that. It means that there's a little lack of guidance, that a little bit of structure could help, a little bit of getting away from these specific categories can help you get, it's almost, and I've talked to, the only reason I say this, I don't know of anybody in here that is in that, in that position, but I've worked with so many traders. I've had people say, hey, I've been trading for 8 years. I've been trading for 10 years and I've never really made any money at it. And that's because we need to work on that direction, that focus, and we need to find out kind of what category, what category are you in here? Is this the category of, experimenter, gambler, full-time candidate? And whatever that is, we need to work with those things and help. There are a few things in there that we can do no matter what category you're in that will turn the game around. And I don't say that as any kind of sales pitch, anything. It's what I've seen in at least 10 years of working with people and teaching people how to trade and watching them progress through the stages. So it's been really, really awesome. So we got the 3 categories, which is good stuff, but whatever category you find yourself in, you're going to experience some of this stuff right here. Some of this stuff in particular. You might have your head down on your hands. You might be bashing your head against your keyboard as it's typing all the funny letters and symbols, but you're going to experience this stuff right here. Frustration, losses, just wanting to give up. Blame is one of my favorites. You know that brokers are hunting your stops, right? And that, they're out to get you, right? I always say, no, I don't actually think so. I mean, I guess, some of that stuff does happen. And brokers have been busted for doing different kinds of things. But for the most part, if brokers are stop hunting and if they are, if they're out to get us and if they're messing with our trades and they're doing all kinds of garbage, it hasn't affected my results too much. So I just have to kind of speak from my personal results and the results of my trade group, which is, if all that stuff is happening, we're still making money. So maybe it's not a big deal if it is happening, but I don't really think it is. But these are the things that we all experience, right? Trading can't be profitable. I'm lying to myself saying that it is. This can't happen, and we become skeptical and all of that. This is something that happens on a regular basis, and so we just have to look at this and say, all right, this is part of the psychological situation. Sim, that's cool. That's cool. It took 5 years to just get to break even. That is all good, Sim. That's not that uncommon. Consistently profitable from now on. That's great. That's great. Yeah, Norbert, I've heard about a lot of that stuff. It's happened in the U.S. as well. It's happened in the U.S. It's happened in Europe. It's happened in different places. But while all that was happening, while these while these banks were getting fined and these brokers were getting shut down, I was still making profitable trades, and it didn't affect my results at all. And so, the moral of the story is that even if things are crazy out there, we can stay on track, but there are certain things that we have to do. And this is where it gets exciting. This is where the heavy lifting begins, folks. I saw this picture and I thought, this is a funny picture. Kind of looks like it might be child abuse a little bit, but this poor kid is just frowning to death. It's not one of my kids, by the way. But this is where, guys, we have to get in and start doing the hard stuff. Now, oftentimes we think of the hard stuff as the big things, right? And actually, in trading, most of the time, the hard stuff is the small things. That's the really hard stuff. For the big things to say, I'm going to get this huge trade, make a ton of money. That's actually easier to make 1,000 pips on a trade than it is to constantly have discipline, right? The odds are better in our favor. So we're going to dig in now that we've kind of explored the different categories and the different characteristics of trade types. Let's talk a little bit more about the nitty gritty, what we can and what we should be doing. So trading psychology typically comes down to a couple of basics here. I hope you guys appreciate my poor sense of humor. The tomato here is saying, it's supposed to be a fruit, but it feels like a vegetable, right? Sometimes we feel like we should be a hedge fund trader, but we're not. We're somebody trading a $2,000 account, a $10,000 account, a $500 account, right? And so we've got to keep in mind these specific elements right here. Trade size, number 1. Strategy, number 2. And patience, number 3. These are all things I get accused of on a regular basis. Good grief, you're a patient person when it comes to trading. Only trading, of course. I'm not patient in anything else. Strategy. Strategy seems to work pretty well. Seems to be pretty consistent. Trade size. It's almost ridiculous. My trade size is almost ridiculous. And we'll talk about that. So these are the 3 core elements of keeping your head right when, quote, the market is wrong. So that is what we're going to dig into. So I find that trade size, item number 1, trade size, the gambler violates this the most, right? This is where the gambler gets in trouble because, very, very often I hear people say, hey, I have $20,000 in my trade account and you're telling me to keep this certain size and I'm only tying up $1,000 of my $20,000. So literally I have $19,000 that are not at work. And I always say, that is excellent. Man, I am so happy to hear that. And people tell me, you're nuts. I'm wasting money. It should be, if I'm gonna be tying up $1,000, I'll just have a $2,000 account. I'll be in 50% of my account every trade. Wrong. That's the death of the trader, right? We don't want to do that. We cannot do that. So trade size comes down to we're never going for the big win. We're never going for the big win. If we get the big win, it's a lot of pips. We're never going to go in heavy and hope for a home run. Anytime we have hope in trading, we're already on the wrong side of the equation. There's some super important things in here that I'm excited to discuss with you guys because these are huge pitfalls that traders encounter on a regular basis. So the other thing is statistics. If we're just talking numbers here, statistics do not support going all in. They do not support the go all in. Absolutely not. And we're going to talk about what some of those statistics are. Keeping our trade size good guarantees our survival. And survival is crucial, right? Do you think if you're stranded on a deserted island somewhere that you're going to be thinking about, where is your phone and can you check your emails? No, we're thinking about how am I going to get up that coconut tree to get some coconuts down because I'm thirsty as ever, right? Survival. And if we go all in and if we violate this trade size element, we will not survive the market, and we will never be able to hone our skill, and we will never be able to work through whatever category we fit into, whether it's experimenter, gambler, full-time candidate. We'll never be able to work through that if we can't survive the market. So let's talk a little bit more about that. Statistics, right? When we trade too large of a trade size, we're basically saying statistics don't matter, right? What are our odds? Well, let's talk about some odds here. Your odds of winning the Mega Millions jackpot are 1 in 302.5 million, right? 302 million. You have one chance in 302 million. Basically, of just about everybody in the United States of America, you would be that one person that wins the jackpot, right? Your odds of being struck by lightning, which sounds very, very infrequent, are actually quite a bit higher than most of these things, right? 1 in 14,000. That sounds, those are probably the most frequent odds of anything. 1 in 14,000. Odds of being attacked by a shark, 1 in 11.5 million. So that's pretty, that's the scary thing. A lot of people don't go in the ocean because they're worried about getting attacked by a shark. And you have 1 in 11.5 million versus how many people go on hikes and stand outside? We all do. 100%. 100% of us go on walks and stand outside and do all that stuff. And we have about 1,000 times more likelihood of getting struck by lightning than we do getting attacked by a shark. I found this one interesting. Odds of a woman giving birth to identical quadruplets. 1 in 700,000. Huh, interesting. Interessante. Mel, there you go. Mel, do you know that actually the average American spends over $200 a year on lottery tickets? $200 a year. And you're right, you can't win if you don't play. And our odds are the lottery probably has the worst odds. It's the least in our favor of probably any statistic on the planet at all. We have a better chance of making whatever the Mega Millions are, if it's a $800 million jackpot or whatever, we have a better chance of earning that money than actually winning the lottery. But you're right, you got to play to win. So when we start to understand statistics a little bit here, we have to understand that to survive this market, silly to buy 2 tickets. To survive this market, we have to have the statistics on our side, right? We can't gamble on a trade. We can't trade too heavy because we will not survive, because the numbers are absolutely not on our side. They're not on our side. Now, this isn't meant to be discouraging. This is the reality of it. The numbers are not on our side. We're trading against millions and millions of people. We're trading against millions of probabilities and millions of different things. The numbers are absolutely not on our side. So why do we even trade in the first place? How can we even win ever at this game? How can we even be profitable ever? It's a good question. I'm glad you asked. I just had to sneeze. Excuse me. So here's how we are going to attack these odds, right? This is how we do it. Remember, trading is a zero-sum game. For every win, there has to be a loss. I think sometimes, and I only think this because people say it, so it makes me think that other people think this. I think sometimes that people think that brokers are the ones that are, doing the trading. Now, yes, there are some brokers, but still, we're trading against a broker. But there are some brokers that will keep the trades in-house, right? They say, okay, look, if you win money, we will we'll pay out those wins. If you lose money, we get to keep it. And then there are straight-through processing brokers that will just say, we don't care. We're just going to connect you with another. We're connecting you with another trader. If you're long, this trader's short. If you're short, this trader's long. That's it. Now, brokers, by the way, here's another interesting statistic. The only reason that a broker could ever, and the numbers are getting a little bit, they're getting a little bit tricky, but the only reason a broker could ever say, guess what, I will pay you out personally the wins, but I get to keep your losses, is because still about 75% of traders around the world lose money, lose more money than they make in trading. 75%. 75%. That is horribly, horribly sad. Because for those of you that are in my trade group know that 100% of us make some amount of money. I don't know what you guys are doing on your, in your own trades and your own accounts, but the trades that we recommend in the group and so on, we're consistently profitable. So how then, how sad is it that, so many people are failing at this game? And it's because of all of these things that we're talking about up until this point and to come still. If everyone is reading charts, does that make them less reliable? Well, remember, what makes the market is buyers and sellers. We know in politics, nobody can agree on anything. Religion, nobody can agree on anything. Neighbors can't even agree on anything. I currently have a huge tree that is on my neighbor's property that's hanging over my house and getting all tangled up in my stuff on my side. We can't agree on who is going to pay for the tree trimming, right? Nobody agrees on anything, and that's why the market exists, because there are a huge amount of buyers and a huge amount of sellers, and nobody will ever be on the same page. So as we are trading against these millions of traders, and we're in this zero-sum game where every time we win, and again, even if a broker keeps it in-house, right? Even if the broker is paying out your wins, the broker is still losing. And if you're paying out your losses to the broker and the broker wins, you're still losing. Somebody is always winning and somebody is always losing at this game. So how do we stay consistently on the winning side? And that doesn't mean 100% of the time, but how can we really turn around that 75% of losses that most traders encounter and turn that into 75, 80, 90% gains? That's the question. That is the question. So trade size is huge. Now, keep in mind, guys, to go back to this really super quick, trade size is so important, and we're going to talk a lot more about the strategy of trade size tomorrow. We're going to talk about the nitty-gritties of trade size tomorrow. We're going to talk about all the details of trade size strategy and patience tomorrow. But I kind of want to just give you guys some good solid background about everything today. And then the webinar tomorrow is going to go much more in detail. So strategy. So we've got to have a good trade size. We can't be getting ourselves into trouble. It's going to feel painful to feel like you're, 90% of your account is going to waste because it's not being used. I had somebody ask me, they said, I have a $20,000 account. This was another person, and they said, should I be in 100% of everything? And I said, absolutely not, ever, ever. And it made me like panic that somebody thought that, right? Because that is just basically a recipe for dying to death in our trading accounts. Yes, everything will be recorded, Steve. Absolutely. So once we get that trade size kind of figured out, like I said, we'll talk about the specific numbers of that tomorrow. We need to have a strategy, right? This is a little bit tricky, but it's very super duper important. We have to have a strategy. And our strategy needs to have a criteria that must be met before we take a trade, right? A strategy would be a criteria, right? A, B, and C have lined up, therefore I'm taking a trade. Sadly, once again, I've probably talked to more individual traders than anybody I know, and I have firsthand experience of seeing this happen over and over and over again. And that is, somebody will say, guess what? I saw some green candles, and so I bought. And I always say, oh, geez, that's not good. I saw some red candles, so I sold. Ugh. Oftentimes, and those of you that are in the trade group will know, oftentimes when I see some red candles, I buy. And when I see some green candles, I sell, right? I do the opposite of what sometimes seems like should be done. And that is, one of the reasons that we are successful in this group, right? Because we have a strategy that works. So you have to have a criteria in your strategy. You have to have a couple of steps, 2 or 3 steps of things that just have to happen every single time, or else you'll be all over the map. And that will not work. You cannot be profitable being all over the place in trading. Number two, you have to have some sort of proof and confidence in your strategy that it works, right? And proof is simply, you know, has this been making me money or not, right? My strategy that I incorporate for the trade group here, this thing is in the wrong spot. Hold on here. My strategy is as follows. This is the strategy, and this is how we can know, you know, if these things are working, right? I can go back and I can look at this and I can say, well, I've done the same thing on every single one of these trades. And somehow I've been able to make 20 pips and 80 pips and 160 pips and 160 pips again and 105 and 200 and 75 and 225 and so on, right? Because I have a strategy that I have put to work and I know that it works like crazy, right? So I can have all the confidence in the world in my strategy from these closed positions and those that are in the trade group, because I've put 15 plus years into this strategy. And that's the tricky thing about a strategy, right? It is taking the time to prove that strategy works. And it took me many years to have a proof of concept for my strategy. But now I have it, and now of course I share it because I want people to cut that learning curve down of 15 years by 14 and a half years. But this is what we've got to have, right? So we've got to have this criteria. We've got to make sure we meet steps A, B, and C. We have to have confidence that what we're doing is the right thing, because when a trade gets in drawdown or markets get a little crazy, it's very easy for us to get squirrely about the whole thing, right? And it makes it so that we don't stick to our strategy, right? And our strategy, that's just another word for our plan, right? You hear people talk about trade plans or whatever. We don't stick to it. We have one or two losses, and then we think to ourselves, we are wrong, I'm wrong, this is all wrong, everything's wrong, right? And so then we rework our strategy, right? You get one or two or three losses, and all of a sudden you're reworking the strategy, and you're trying something different and trying something different because we don't have confidence or proof that it works, or maybe we do, but we don't have the stick-to-itiveness to make ourselves stay with our strategy that works much more often than not. Does that make sense, guys? Are you with me? Is that does anybody have any questions or comments at this point? We're going to have time for some Q&A at the end as well, but is that making sense? Are you guys following this line of thinking so far? Gary, thanks, man. I'm glad. Yeah, good. Everyone, okay. So I just want to make sure that everybody is kind of seeing how this all comes together, right? So we've got to know what we're up against. This market, again, the trading is an absolute direct relation to risk and reward, right? For example, we all know it's irrefutable. Nobody can argue this point. We all know that if we exercise now and we eat well now, our quality of life is just guaranteed to be better. It's guaranteed to be better, right? You will have more energy, you'll feel better, you'll live longer. Maybe you won't live longer, maybe you'll get, who knows? But we will have a better quality of life if we take care of ourselves early on in life. We'll be healthier and happier later on in life, right? Trading is the exact kind of situation where, but it's much more immediate, right? If you take a larger trade size, we just talked about trade size, right? If you take a larger trade size, you will immediately be taking the possibility of making more money, right? Getting more reward from the trade, but at the exact same time, you're taking on more risk, right? So it's a direct correlation of the more risk we take, the more payout we get. The more, and it's just like in life, right? If you exercise, it's more difficult, but there's going to be more payout. And trading's the exact same way. And so we have to kind of make sure that we're in that kind of category and in that area. Norbert, yes, I will elaborate on the criteria a lot tomorrow. Tomorrow is going to be the actual strategy and the criteria that needs to be met for trading. So yep, I will go through that to death tomorrow. So make sure you're here tomorrow. So yes. And Jason, yeah, it's hard to develop your own strategy, and that's why you've got to find some shortcuts, right? That's why, in for example, I have a trade group, right, and that helps you learn and earn at the same time, because developing a strategy, it took me years. It took me years, and not everybody wants to take on uh, a project like this that has, a possible 10-year learning curve, right? We want maybe a year learning curve or a several month learning curve. And so that's why we need to, find somebody that has a strategy and has some criteria for us. Okay, but yes, Norbert, I promise I will talk a ton about that. I'm going to disclose all valuable information tomorrow, so I hope you guys can all make it. And it'll be recorded as well. Okay, so, and again, item number 3 is so important. When things go bad, we change, and we can't do that. We cannot do that, because then we go right back to the drawing board, and that's why it doesn't work. In trading psychology, this is one of the biggest problems, I guess I would say. I love this picture because it's so descriptive, right? 2 computers, a laptop, or a tablet, a phone. We become infamous overtraders, right? I call it the death by 1,000 cuts, and we just go nuts, right? And this is because, again, we're lacking a strategy. We're lacking that criteria, right? No criteria will be just trade until your trading account hits 0. And so maybe, maybe there's some of that, but this over trading situation is a big problem, and it comes from exactly what we talked about, which is, oops, there we go, which is, lacking a criteria, not having proof or any confidence in your strategy, and then just not sticking to your strategy. And so we oftentimes end up doing this. I'm curious, what are your guys' thoughts? Has anyone ever overtraded? And if you have, hailing outside, that's nice. Guess I won't be golfing today. Has anyone ever overtraded, and why did you do it? What were some of the reasons that you found yourself just taking trade after trade after trade after trade? Anybody want to just say, I've done it? Anyone want to admit to it? Because I've done it. I've sure the heck done it a lot, right? And I would say that probably the 3 main reasons that I found myself over trading have been numero uno. Bob, that's a good one. That's a good one. Greed, yeah. We want to just kill it. We just want to make a ton of money, right? Another reason is boredom. The market's not doing anything, so I'm just going to start trading some stuff. One of my favorites is revenge trading. I love revenge trading. There's nothing better than that. Dang it, I just lost $500 on that last trade. I'm going to go back twice as big, and I'm going to make it back in half the time. And next thing you know, you go back twice as big and you lose twice as much, and now you've lost $500 plus $1,000. Now you're down $1,500, and now you're really down for some revenge. I'm hitting home runs. I'm calling the internet. The market's going to know my name, and we just go nuts. We just go crazy. We become the gambler, right? We become the going all in jackpot kind of trader. And again, death by 1,000 cuts, and that's what we don't want. Hoping for wins. Yep. Yeah, it's tough, right? It's tough, right, Norbert? Yeah, you sit at your computer, you sit at your charts, and you see things moving, and you're thinking, I'm being an idiot. Why am I not in all of this movement? Why didn't I see that? Why didn't I do that? And we start chasing the market and getting in late and doing all this stuff, and it's just a disaster. I've seen it a million times, and it never ends pretty. So that is one thing that we have got to be very careful of. So that's where this thing comes in that nobody really likes, right? Patience, probably the longest 4-letter word. so it is really the case, right? And this is something I get accused of a lot. People say, you are very patient. You are too patient in trading. In fact, you're so patient, you're missing opportunity after opportunity. Well, yes, I'm probably missing a lot of opportunities. They're not opportunities that meet my criteria, so technically I'm not missing anything according to me, but the market's moving and we should be in it, right? Wrong. because that's where we get ourselves into pretty massive amounts of trouble, problemos, and everything. So I'm kind of looking at you know, how can we better approach this stuff? How can we better kind of kill the overtrading and start to patiently wait for our criteria to get met? Well, every day is a decision, right? Every day that I trade, I get up and I say, I've been trading for over 15 years, and I obviously talk about this stuff. I teach this stuff every day. And I get a little bit of a twitch in my fingers sometimes. I'm hitting the buy button today. There's nothing that's meeting my criteria, but you know what? Screw it. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. And fortunately, I manage money for people, and I would have to answer to them about why I did that. And also, I run a trade group, and if I started just pumping out bad trade after bad trade, I'd have to answer to them too. So I probably have a little bit of an unfair advantage in that there is a lot of accountability, right? I have a lot of accountability, so it keeps me from not being patient, right? Because I have a lot of people to answer to if I start doing a bunch of dumb stuff. So every day we have to make that decision of I'm just going to let the market meet my criteria. Anything outside of my criteria is, I don't care if it's up 500 points or down 500 points. I don't care, because it doesn't meet my criteria and there's no trade for me there. But when we start lacking patience is when we start getting into mucho trouble. So I hear a lot of people tell me, they'll say things like, you know, I'm just sitting here, you know, like we talked about overtrading, right? I'm just sitting here and I'm bored. And if I'm not trading, I'm not working, right? And this is meant to be a job. I'm here because I wanted to make trading my career. And if I'm just sitting here doing nothing, then that's not a career, right? We have to equate activity with you know, being busy, right? If we're doing something right, it means we're busy. If we're not doing something, it means we're being lazy. Well, I have to say to that, yeah, Steve, you're in good company, my friend. You're in good company. We're all guilty of trading because we're bored. We are all guilty of it, 100%. So what I say to that is patience is a form of action. So if you find yourself saying, good grief, I'm not doing anything, I'm not being productive, just remember, patience is being productive. Some people ask me, they say, why don't you take more trades, or why don't you do more of this or more of that? And I say, because I'm such a fan of forward progress. And if I'm just doing stuff all the time and I'm just all over the place and I'm spending any amount of energy making up losses, then that's wasted time and wasted energy. And I do not like to waste time and energy. I have 3 kids and a dog and a lot of time-consuming hobbies, and I don't want to waste time on anything that will take away from spending time with those kids, having fun with the outdoor activities, any of that. I don't want to waste time. So when we get crazy and we trade like crazy, and we're spending tons of time making back losses from that board trading that we did, that's a problem, right? So remember, patience is action. That's us saving ourselves time in the future. Remember, anything that's typically harder is probably going to be the better answer here. So it's hard to be patient. It's hard to stay out of the market. And there's a fine balance, right, of just getting disengaged, right? Saying, well, this isn't moving. It's not meeting my criteria. It probably won't for 3 weeks, so I'm just going to close the charts. That's not good either. We need to stay engaged, but we need to remember that every bad thing we do sets us back, and we have to use energy, time, and effort to get back to where we were. We don't want to do that. We want to always be taking steps forward, building our account, learning, growing, becoming better traders. Okay. Does anybody have any thoughts that they want to share really quick? I'm curious, just by a show of hands, if anybody wants to claim guilt here. What do you guys struggle with the most? Do you feel like your patience is good, but you're lacking in strategy? Do you feel like your strategy is good, but your trade size is constantly off? Do you feel like you struggle with all three of these? Do you feel like you struggle with none of these? You have a solid strategy, you're very patient, and your trade size is exactly perfect for your account and your style. What do you guys feel like here? What has been the biggest struggle and biggest success for you? Trade size, yep, that's probably the one that affects the most people. I would say patience is probably the next one. And strategy, okay, patience, good. Jose, Mel, yeah, I gotcha. Not knowing the trade size, Dorothy, that's good, that's good. And quantity, yeah, patience for sure. Yep, small accounts, you have to push it harder. Yep, exactly. Trade size did not scale in. Yeah, boy, and Norbert, we're gonna talk about that to death tomorrow. It's gonna be so good. I'm so excited about tomorrow's webinar. I was really excited about today's webinar because these are things that I think every trader needs to know. But tomorrow we're really gonna kill this strategy side of things, and it's gonna be awesome. So yeah, strategy, getting there, absolutely. Yeah, patience. Yeah, like trading a bit every day. Rather, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Good, Sim. Good. Small trade size. Really. I mean, I almost came to this webinar saying, guess what? Trading psychology is only trade size, and I would say it's a huge bit trade size. But for a long time, I would just say, you know what? Trading psychology is just trade size. If you trade smaller, you're less stressed. It's really that simple. If you find yourself stressed out when you're in a trade, reduce your trade size by 50 or 75%. Just bam. And that gives you time to work out your strategy, and that gives you survivability. Remember how we talked about earlier that we have to survive this market? We can't do that if every loss is costing us 10 or 15 or 20% of our account. We've got about 3 or 4 or 5 trades in us before we're at zero. So, that's pretty rough. So we've got to make sure that we understand this process. Good. Steve, logically, if my strategy has 80% win, I lose 20% of the time. I make 20%. That 20% makes me doubt the strategy, then trade badly to make money back. Yeah, no, that's Steve. That's exactly what I'm talking about, right? Even if we have a good strategy, it takes about, as traders, we have a very short memory. We're kind of like, I think Norbert said that dogs have no memories, which makes a lot of sense. I never really thought about that. I always wondered why my dog was so excited to see me. Like, oh, didn't know if you were coming back. I always come back. But anyway, if you have a good strategy and you lose 3 or 4 times, that will rock your world as a trader. That's the hard truth, unfortunately. So good. Norbert, yeah, got into a sell trade. It runs 200 pips, got stopped out, and then turns and goes down 400 pips. Yep. And that's where criteria of a strategy is so important, and that is where trade size and patience really come in. And we're gonna, like I said, we're gonna really talk about that tomorrow. It's gonna be awesome. Waiting is hard, but I don't freak out now and close just before the win. Good, Dorothy. You're in a couple of our groups and you're doing a bang up job. So great work. So these are really the best things that we can do, right? Opening too many trades. There you go. And this is why I say, guys, help is on the way. There are ways to work around being in a category of trader that you don't want to be. I'm the gambler and I can't help it and I don't know what to do. I'm the experimenter and I can't seem to grasp onto a strategy that's going to consistently make me money. I'm the full-time candidate, but I'm still missing some stuff. And for that reason, and for many other reasons, I have a live trading group, and it's a really awesome opportunity, as we've talked about, to cut down that strategy learning, to cut down that how do I develop my own criteria. It's such a long road, and being able to kind of lean on something that is working. Like I talked about, whenever I question what I'm doing, I just go back here and say I don't take losses. Well, that's not true. I have a loss right there. That was I hated that one. But back on January 24th, we lost 65 pips on the euro. Darn it, what a bummer. Anyways, but we don't take losses, and we, you know, we constantly exit these trades with profit after profit after profit. And this is the kind of stuff that helps us get through those shaky times, right? But it is a long road developing a strategy. And for that reason, I have a live trade group that is here to help people turn the corner. Thank you, Dorothy. I'm glad it's helped you a lot. I know it has helped you a lot. I've seen some great progress in you. So the Day Traders FX Live Premium Trade Group is that. We have a strategy that has years of proven results, right? That can keep our brains on track when the market is going nuts. We have a trade right now that's in drawdown, and I am 0.0% worried about it because I know the strategy works, and I know, I know that the criteria that we need to have met was met at the time of entry. So I don't have to worry about the trade. I know my trade size is appropriate for this kind of a trade. So we really, really hone in on that strategy. Trade size is something that I pound into everybody, and we're going to talk about this so much more tomorrow, but we talk about how to properly position yourself with every trade with your account, right? That's the thing that we want to be able to do. And this is what will keep us in the market and help us survive. And that's what we do in the trade group as well. And of course, patience being one of the most important things. In the trade group, we are accountable to each other, right? We all have each other to discuss our trades with and talk about what we're doing. And of course, yeah, we can lie and be like, oh, I didn't take a trade when I took 45 trades over a 2-hour period because I was revenge trading. But we are accountable to each other, and we're here to make sure that we all stay on track. And that's really, there is, I'll tell you guys, there is a reason. I've never been, but there's a reason there are support groups, right? There's a reason there's Alcoholics Anonymous, and it's not a one-on-one kind of a thing. We go to groups because we get strength, we get knowledge, we get help through the hard times from the strength of the group. And that's absolutely what this group is. It's full of amazing, wonderful people. And many of you are in here with me today, and I'm very happy to have you guys with us. So these are all things that we really, really focus on in the trade group. So what you get in the trade group is over 100 weekly webinars over a year period. So we do about 2 webinars per week. So it's about 104 webinars, but it's probably more like 100 webinars because we take a little bit of time off in December for Christmas and New Year's and all that. So you get 100 weekly webinars, which is valued at $1,000. And I feel like that's pretty generous because I want to make things as affordable for everybody as possible. But we have great stuff that make people great profits, and so we don't give it away. Daily trade recommendations. Every day and every week, I make new recommendations. I comment on our current trades. I update our current trades, and so on. So we have daily recommendations for a year. That is a very, very minimum of a $2,500 value. If you were trading $1 a pip on all of our trades, you would still make $4,000 or $5,000 a year just from the smallest trade size from following our recommendations. And I know that there are lots and lots of people in the group making a considerable amount, much more than that. So we have daily trade recommendations. What I also try to include from time to time is one-on-one sessions, right? I'll do one-on-one session with those people that sign up and join the trade group, because I want to make sure that people, as we've talked about this strategy and we've talked about all this stuff, I want to make sure that people are able to really hone in their skills and hone in their strategy and be able to find their zen, so to speak, right? And so I do a 1-hour one-on-one session to help you fix and improve and really kind of develop your trading strategy and better understand how you can follow my trading strategy. And so that's a $500 value. I charge $500 an hour to do these. And still I do too many one-on-one sessions. They take up a lot of time, and it's $500 an hour. It's not bad, but I can't hardly keep up with it. But I do these, and this is all part of the deal. And so what we have is, probably the most important thing is that this gets you on track as a trader. You're here because you trade. You would not be here if your trading career and life were 100% perfect, right? If you knew everything. So we're all here to learn and to improve and to really get back on track and take control of our trading success. And that is, you know, we get all this, but that is really the most important thing. But the webinars, the one-on-one session, the daily trade recommendations, you know, this is a very minimum of a $4,000 value because, again, trading the smallest trade size and following our trades, you would make at least that during the year. So so that's what we try to do, and that's what we do. For a very limited time, you can get all that and access to our live trade group and contact with me and the daily trade recommendations and our multiple weekly webinars and all of that for $999. Enrollment is going to be open this weekend. That is today, tomorrow, and I will close it on Sunday. And it'll be closed for 6 or 8 months or a year, whatever. These webinars take a lot of time and energy to prepare, and I'm so stinking busy that 6 or 8 or 10 months flies by very quickly, and then I start getting pressure from people. Hey, I haven't heard from you in a while, and so then I do another webinar. So I only will do open enrollment when there is some sort of webinar and some sort of training that talks about what we do. So this will be open for this weekend. You can join the group for a year. It comes to about you know, 80 some dollars a month, $82 a month, $82.50, something like that. And it's only in a yearly chunk. And the reason I do the yearly only chunk is because I want people to stick with it. That is such an important part of trading psychology, is sticking with something. And I would love to do monthly stuff. And this isn't about the money. This is about, I want you to commit to a year, because that is what it takes to get a strategy under your belt and to be consistently profitable at it. People, if you can join monthly, join for a month, 2 months, and then quit. I was hoping to make $1 million in this first month, and I didn't, and so I'm out. So I want you to commit to this, as I will be committed to all the members of the trade group, so that success can be literally a guarantee. And it will be. I mean, we've got the track record to prove it, and there's a lot of people in this trade group, in this webinar, that are in the trade group that know this is what we do. So we're going to talk, like I said, much more about the strategy and much more about the details. You can get a little reminder of what all this is. You can go to the website right here and see all the things that we offer. And here's the link in the website. I would love to have you guys join us in the trade group. You've got about 2 days to, you know, to think about it, to do it. And then, like I said, it'll be closed down for the next, you know, probably for the next, until next year at the very least. So I won't do another open enrollment for this group this year. So we'd love to have you. I'm excited about tomorrow's webinar. We're going to talk much more about the strategy, the trade management, all of that. It's going to be super awesome. It's going to be a great opportunity, and I'm really looking forward to it. I look forward to, yes, tomorrow it'll be at 6 a.m. Pacific, 9 a.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. UK time. So 6 a.m. Pacific time tomorrow. So a little bit earlier than we started today. So that's what we're going to be doing, and it should be a good time. So I'm looking forward to it. We have some great things to discuss. Don't wait to join the trade group. There's 2 days. If you're going to do it, let's get you going. I would love to have you guys work with us and really start to master this trading psychology situation. So it should be great. Thank you a bunch, everybody. Any questions, comments before we wrap it up? What do you guys think? Do you have some thoughts? Do you have some things you want to bring up? Questions, comments, questions, comments. What do you guys think? Does anybody have anything to bring up? We will have another webinar tomorrow. Again, 9 a.m. Or excuse me, 6 a.m. Pacific time, 9 a.m. Eastern, and it'll be a great situation. Norbert, yes, I have. I've done a lot with hedging, and we can talk about that a little bit more tomorrow. Hedging is an interesting technique. It's very difficult to do correctly, but it can be very, very good. Absolutely. Thanks, Sim. Good to see you, my friend. Good to see you. It's an awesome group because you're awesome. All right, you guys. Any other questions, comments, send them over. We'll see you tomorrow at 6 a.m. Pacific, 9 a.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. UK time. Thanks a bunch, everybody. So happy to have you with us. Thanks for being on. Take care, and we will see you tomorrow for the strategy side of it, which I'm really excited about. Should be awesome. Thanks, guys. Take care. See you tomorrow.